The Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy wraps up its two-day hearing on the Gas Amendment Bill in Limpopo province. The purpose is to facilitate public participation in the process of making legislation. SABC reporter Koketso Motau has more on this story.
From the Mokurinyani Community Hall here in the Parliament. This is where the Parliament has come here to speak to the people around here regarding the amendment bill of the gas amendment. So they want to amend this bill. It has been there since 2001, so now they want to amend it, and they need the people around here to give their input. So they started here in Limpopo yesterday, they were in Vembe, so today they are here in Waterberg district. So I'm going to speak to the chairperson of the committee in Parliament just to get as to what is the purpose of this amendment bill. Thank you so much for joining us. Take us through the purpose of this bill.
Look, the purpose of this bill, in fact, is amendments. These are amendments to the Gas Act of 2001. Amongst other issues, there were gaps. As you will recall, 2001 is almost 20 years ago. And there would have been new developments in terms of technology, particularly around transportation. So the bill seeks to address the issue of new technologies in the industry. It also seeks to ensure that there is enforcement of the law where there is non-compliant. So, for an example, the Act does not specify with regards to the sanction that can be imposed on non-compliance. Now, the new amendment suggests that a fine or a penalty of not less than 20 million rands per day could be imposed where there is non-compliance, including reviewing or revoking the license of the operator. It also seeks to address the issue with regards to broad-based black economic empowerment. It empowers NERSA to develop new regulations with regards to application for licenses. Currently, it does state how the application process is supposed to unfold, but it doesn't specify the time period from the point of receiving the application. It doesn't say how much time the application can be. So it addresses that. It also authorizes, the amendment proposes that NERSA must be authorized to enter any premises where there are gas operation, whether it's by supply, whether it's the operator, whether it's a manufacturing, and even if it's unlicensed premises. So those are some of the proposed amendment. It also suggests that the minister is required to develop a gas master plan and must take accountability for that, but for those particular processes. So those are some of the proposed amendment that you will find in the gas amendment bill.
So this amendment bill, how is it going to affect me as an ordinary citizen, and how is it going to affect the industries in general?
Look, you will recall part of the problem is that most of our people are not familiar with gas activities. But the most serious thing that we think it's important is that there is trade in gas, and the majority of our people are not active participants in that industry. It's an industry that we could call it's a monopolized industry. And what this bill now seeks to do is to make sure that they are active participants. But also I think it's important to say, I heard some people who were saying that they are not affected. I was happy that we are in the deep rural areas. In every place except when we went to Pedi. We have not been even there. We were just in a rural town, but not deep in the rural areas. There is no individual who cannot be affected by gas. For an example, I said to others in the rural areas, we have got a challenge of the absence of the challenges of electricity supply. And you can't deny the fact that for us, as particularly as Africans, our traditional activities require massive production of material in the form of fire. Now, in this day and age, you will find that you are told that you can't cut down the bushes, it's going to affect the environment. On the other side, you don't have electricity. Now, if you are doing a traditional function, you need that massive production of fire. And in this case, you can only use gas. So when you use gas, you can put almost 6 pots. You can get a 6-pot gas stove. And that on its own is an activity mostly in our rural areas as an alternative source of electricity. So the most important thing is that it does affect our people. Also, in most of these areas, when there is gas leakage, the law now says the regulator must impose those stiff sanctions. Doesn't mean if, for an example, you are here, a truck carrying gas overturns. That poses a threat to the entire community in the rural areas. And you will also can imagine how long it will take to come and calm such a situation, because your fire machines will be very far from those rural areas. So there is no individual who is not affected. It affects mainly even our own people, but also on trade. For instance, some people were arguing, saying that if you impose a penalty of not less than 2 million rands per day, how do you say to somebody who can't even generate an income of 500,000 rands in the rural area? So we say we then say we need to strike a balance of not blocking out people in terms of being active in the industry, but at the same time, those that we know that they have been benefiting for too much, they must also be subjected to strict measures in terms of what is proposed in the amendment.
All right, thank you so much for talking to us. This is the chairperson of the committee in Parliament, Mr. Luzipo. Indeed, the committee has already visited 7 provinces, and this is the 8th province. So next time they are going to the northwest. They've already visited Gauteng, Northern Cape, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, Free State, and Mpumalanga. So yesterday, as I said, they were in Vembe. So today they are here in Lephalale. This is where, of course, we have Medupi power station, which is obviously, distributing a lot of gases around this area. Thank you so much. Back to you in the studio.